Okay, I came out today and opened my van door, and I know when I opened it, I heard a kind of a little pop, and then the door wouldn't open anymore. And then I noticed that I had to close it, and then I noticed that there was this cable hanging down. And so today's video is going to be on how to replace a power sliding door motor. Here's some of the possible tools that you might need to perform this DIY project. Hammer, chisel, Phillips screwdriver, magnet. I did have to fish out some bolts, a pry bar, and I didn't use all of these, but it depends on how you do it. You might need them. A couple of sockets, a 10 millimeter and a 12 millimeter, flat head, Sharpie, some socket extensions, T40 Torx wrench, and some tin snips. And that's about all you should need. Once you watch the video, you can see it's not too difficult. All right, now whenever you're working with anything on your car that's electrical, you'll want to remove the negative battery cable. And so to get to the access to that, we've got to remove this vent. And there are two pins that we need to remove. It's really pretty simple. All you do is lift up on this. You can see, get a flathead screwdriver, and then just go ahead and pull it out. You got to get it lifted up, and you may want to just pry underneath it with your screwdriver and then just go ahead and pull it out. Then the other one is over here. Again, we lift this up. Then it's good just to pry underneath it and pull it out. Very simple. And then you got to just move this out, and now we have access to the battery. All right, now to remove the negative battery terminal, you'll need a 10 millimeter socket or wrench, and you just go ahead and remove or loosen this up, and then just wiggle it off. Maybe loosen it up a little bit more, and then you just go ahead and pull it up. And you want to set that off to the side. You don't want it to touch that. All right, to gain access to the sliding door motor, we've got to start off with, you want to take this panel off. You just pull up on it. It's got some clips on it. And you just kind of slide it out. Now we'll put this off to the side. Okay, the next thing you're going to have to remove is this panel right here, and to do that you just unscrew these little knobs. Make sure put them somewhere where you don't lose them. You then just go ahead and pull this thing off. And have to pull it out over these bolts. One other thing you'll want to do is just kind of pull this back. This can sometimes get in the way, so you just pull this off. And you only have to go to this point right here. Now you'll notice you'll have to put the seat down to get this piece out. Again, you just undo one of these knobs. And these are all fastened with clips. We're going to take this piece off, and it's just one whole big piece. Again, it's held in with clips, so you just go ahead and start pulling it out. And also you want to pull this off, and then you just go ahead and pop this out and lift it up. Actually, it's only to this part where you need to get it. You just go ahead and pull that out. And then what you'll have back here Okay, so what you're going to be replacing is this motor right here. This is connected to the cables. So you also need to remove this piece right here. And to do that, you got to remove this little fastener here. You might need to use a screwdriver if it's on too tight. And you just go ahead and pull that out. Again, don't lose that little fastener. And then, so here again, here's the motor that we're going to have to take out. You can see there's a bolt back in here, right, that you have to take out. This bolt and that bolt. And it's a 10 millimeter socket that you'll use. Now, another thing that you want to do is you're going to have to loosen up this fan here now this is an EXL. Yours might not have this. EXL has a fan in the back for the air conditioner, but there are 3 bolts you have to remove here. You won't be able to remove it, but you can move it back far enough that you can get to the piece that you need to take out. So there's a bolt here, bolt down here, and then the 3rd bolt is just right over here. And again, that's also a 10 millimeter. We're then going to remove these 3 bolts. I'll just loosen them up real quick. Once you get them loose, and then you won't need your ratchet. And there's just one more over here. Okay, so once you get those 3 bolts out, you'll notice that you'll be able to move this out, and then you'll have access to remove this piece back here. There's 1 bolt here, and then there are 2 bolts on the other side. You can see those, the other 2 bolts are kind of back there, and you'll get those from the other side. Let me show you. So those are the 2 bolts that you need to remove, and we'll just access them from this point over here. We'll just go in through here and loosen them up. So we're just going through this hole right here. Be really careful because you don't want to lose the bolt. I used a magnet and to help me so that I didn't lose it. You also might want to get a socket that has a magnet in it, because if you drop it, it's going to go behind this and you won't have access to it. Other side, how I'm loosening the bolt, but again, you got to be really careful. Maybe have somebody hold a magnet from the other side so that you don't drop the bolt. I mean, if you did, you could always just go get another one. So you'll do that bolt. You'll then go and loosen the other bolt, and you'll go ahead and take that out. Now this is the easiest bolt to remove. You got a lot of access to that. You'll just go ahead and loosen that up, and then you can just reach back there and take it out with your hand. But again, just be careful. You don't want to drop any of those bolts behind this air conditioner. So after you remove the 3 nuts, you can slide the cable bracket off of the bolts and slide it through on the other side towards the motor. Now you notice that this is what I did is I cut these because then you can just lift this out, and then you can just slide the other one in rather than trying to pull these fasteners out. To remove the front cable, you just need to go ahead and unloosen these 3 bolts. Really quite simple. You can just go ahead and unloosen them and then go ahead and take them out by hand. One thing that I like to do is just go ahead and put the bolts back in so you know where they go, and you don't have a difficult time finding out and trying to remember where they go. So you can go ahead and put those back, just barely put them in, and you don't lose them and you know where they go. Okay, so the back cable, the one back here is the one that broke. This is the front cable, so I'm going to have to cut it so that I can open the door. So I'll just go ahead and cut the cable. And there you have it. So now I can go ahead and open the door with it once I break that cable. And if you wanted to, you could just have it manual. You don't want to use the power door. So see, you can just manually shut the door. And I've heard of some people doing that. They just don't use the power cables to do that. Now to take the side rail out, you're going to have to remove this with a Phillips screwdriver. And you just kind of have to pull it out. There you go. So you'll take out that screw. Then you'll also need to remove these two bolts, and it's a T40. You can see it's a torque. You just get them loose and then go ahead and take them out with your hand. And this will be held on with fasteners. Now, in order to get this piece off, you also need to remove the tail light. They're just two screws that you need to take out. And so to get this off, you're just going to pull hard back, and it should just pop right off. And there you have it. And you'll notice that these clips stay on. I'll show you how to put these. You'll have to put them back on here, and then you can you'll just install them back in here, and then you'll slide it back on. You'll then want to get a jack and put that underneath the door to support it. So when you take the pin out, and you want to make sure that you get that on nice and tight. So I'm going to get it centered or get it on there so it looks good, and then I'll slide that looks pretty good right there. Then I'll just go ahead and slide the towel underneath it. Because you want to raise that up a little bit so that it'll hold the door. Just keep jacking it up just a tiny bit, but that might have been too much. Just to get it so that it's got support. If you jack it up too much, it's going to be hard to get that pin out. Or another thing you can do is you can just remove these two bolts right here. And I'm thinking I might try that, but I'll see how this goes. The thing is when you do that, you want to mark up in here and around here to make sure that you get that plate right in the same spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark where the hinge is so that when I replace it, I put it in the exact same spot. I'll just mark it underneath, and then I've already marked it on top, but you want to make sure when you put it back on that you get it in the exact same spot. I'm then going to go ahead and remove the bolts. It's a 12mm socket. Just go ahead and remove each one of those. Make sure you put the bolts somewhere where you can find them. Again, we've got the jack holding the door up. Then go ahead and take the hinge off. Slide that out. So you'll just need to go ahead and just lift this up as you bring it out. Make sure you don't want to break this little bracket there. And this is what you're going to have. You can see that we've got to replace. We're going to pull this out and just go ahead and replace those. To remove the old cable, you just slide this up to where that groove is, and then you're going to, you can see there's that little notch there that you got to get into that center too. and then you just pull it out. Same thing over here. It's a little bit different. You just work it up, work it through that gap. And you can see that it's got these little gaps here. You got to make sure you get these lined up right in here with that center, otherwise it won't slide through. So to remove the motor, you just have to remove these 3 bolts. One here, one down here, and then this one's a little bit hard to get to, but it's not too bad. Once you loosen them up, then you can just go ahead and take them out by hand. You just kind of want to hold it as you do that. I'm not going to show you, but you'll just remove those, and that will allow you to take the motor out. You then need to remove these 3 tabs, the harness, and what you do is you just compress this, pull it out, again compress the middle thing, and this one already, you just push here and then slide it out. Now we've got the motor out. We'll go ahead and install the used motor. Now this is the used motor that I bought from a salvage yard. I called Honda and they wanted $700 for this motor. Thought I'd try this out first. It was $190. It's used, but I think it should last for quite a while. So then we're going to just go ahead and slide the harness into the new or the used motor. Just make sure you hear it clip, and there we have that. All right, so what I've done is I put one bolt in just to hold this up so I can feed this the wire through. Now what I did to get this cable assembly in, I didn't have anybody to film me, so I just had to put it on, but I'm going to show you how. You just take it and feed it through here. You have to pull this insulation back. You can see the insulation down in here. You just pull that and tuck it down, and then just feed it through, and you have to put those the bolts inside of the assembly. There'll be 3 bolts. Then you'll slip that on, and then you'll just then you go ahead and put the nuts on. So you just go ahead and slide this piece onto the bolts, and then we'll go ahead and put the nuts on, and that will secure that. So this is what it should look like. We will then secure the cable with the nuts on the bolts. So we're going to put a piece of tape on the end of this nut so that when we put it on, it doesn't fall down. The next thing we're going to do is go ahead and install it. You just got to slide this in here, and then we'll find the hole, and then we'll go ahead and put it on. So you can see that'll help keep from us losing that nut. We'll just tighten it a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and do that with the other 2 nuts. Then we'll just go ahead and tighten it up a little bit more. So we'll then go ahead and secure the second nut. It's kind of difficult to do this. You don't have a very good angle. But it looks like that's going on. Let me just tighten it up a little bit more. So now we're just screwing on the 3rd one. It's really hard to get access to that, but it looks like it's going okay. You just kind of have to pull this out a little bit. Just get it nice and snug. You can see how I've installed those 3 bolts, or the nuts, and without losing them. So that worked out fairly well. So there you have it. Now we've got the insulation around it, and you can see how it just kind of fits through. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is just go ahead and attach this assembly. We're going to, first of all, push this wire through here, and it'll just rest in there. We've got another spot right here. We'll just go ahead and push that in. And then we've got I just put the bolts in here so we didn't lose them. Okay, we're then going to just feed this wire through here, and then we'll go ahead and attach this with the 3 bolts. And you want to get them nice and secure. Now to put this in, you're just going to slide it in this way. Just slide it in. You just go ahead and slide the other one in. There we go. Okay, now we just need to slide this inside of here. Make sure you take this through this guide right here and slide that in. Okay, we're then going to put the bolts back in. And you just got to make sure that you line it up. We'll just get them in and then we'll go ahead and get it lined up. Go ahead and put the back bolt in first, and then we'll slide in the front bolt. And we'll just go ahead and hand tighten it. It looks like that's right on where we had it before. We'll just go ahead and tighten these up. You want to get them nice and snug, don't want to over tighten them. Now we'll go ahead and release the jack. Take a look at that again, make sure it hasn't moved. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? What we're going to do now is we'll manually close it. You just want to look everything over, make sure it looks like it's lined up, open and close it a few times manually. And this is looking good. We will now go ahead and tighten the 3 bolts on the motor. We'll get them nice and snug. There we have it. Now we'll go ahead and get the other 2. There we go. Now it's nice and snug. I think we've got it all secured. Now that we have the motor and cables secure, we can go ahead and try the system, make sure it's working properly. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and put the battery terminal back on now that we've completed the repair on this sliding door. And you'll just go ahead and slide this on and then tighten it up. Relearn the system. We've got the door closed. Now we'll go ahead and open it. So now we're going to go ahead and open it up. And then we'll go ahead and close it. After you've tested the door multiple times, you can go ahead and secure everything and then put the panels back on. Now we will go ahead and secure the rear air conditioning fan. There are 3 bolts. There's one here, Just get that started. And again, it's a 10 socket. Just get that in a little bit. You don't want to go too much. And the other one is right here. And we'll go ahead and put the bottom one in. And that's just right here. And we'll go ahead and tighten each one of them. Nice and snug. There we go, and then we just have one more to tighten up. That's this one over here. We're then going to put on this cover. Just make sure you slide it in here and up here. And there's this little tab you're going to screw in. That will secure it. You can just hand tighten it. Yeah, that's in really well. Again, you're going to have to take all of these clips out. You just turn them about a quarter of a turn. You can pull them out. And then when you put them in, you've got to put this long side right here up on this side. And then you just slide it in. Again, turn it a quarter. And then you can pull it out. And you'll put it on this side right like that. Same thing here. And then to put this in, you're just going to line up the clips. And just kind of see where they line up. Then you just go ahead and start popping them in. So you want to make sure you've got this, you can go ahead and put the tail light in, but just make sure this is on top of it. And you just go ahead and tighten up the screws. Just want to make sure you get them in. Keep that up against the back of this. Just go ahead and tighten those up. And then you got to put on these two bolts. Just get it nice and tight. And there you have it. Now we've got the rail on all the way. Now the last thing you need to do is just go ahead and put the screw in. Just get that nice and snug, and then you've secured the rail and you're all finished with that. Just get it nice and tight. You don't want to over tighten it though. As soon as you feel that it's starting to tighten up, that should be good right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to just slide this cover back on, and you can kind of see where everything's supposed to go. They've got these clips. You want to make sure that they go in. Once you see that it's in the hole, then you just pop it in. And we'll just go to the other side. And then you've got to fit this underneath. Now when you put it in, make sure you've got the seat belt where it's supposed to be. And again, you'll just go ahead and put the clips in and pop it in. And it looks like there we need to get in. Okay, now it looks like it's nice and secure. Once you get this on, then you go ahead and put the molding back on. Just kind of tuck it in. There, that looks good. Okay, we're now going to put this piece on. You're just going to be, there will be some bolts you want to put in each one of these ends. And then you've got clips up top that will fit into these holes right here. Again, you just line up the holes here. Get it over in on this side. And push it into the clips. And then you go ahead and screw these on. You can just hand tighten these. There you go, it's all nice and secure. And then just make sure you get your molding so that it's nice and snug. Don't want any water leaking in. That looks good. And then you've got this one up here that we need to put in. Just like on the other side. Make sure again you get it nice and snug. And you can see now it's all, sometimes you just have to push them in a little bit to get those fasteners secured. Looks like we've got everything good. We'll now go ahead and put this bottom plate in. Okay, you'll notice that there are all these clips on here. You're just going to line those up with these holes. So you just slide this end in here, and then go ahead and push this down. And you just push down and get it into the clips. You can see we've got it in nice and snug, so that should be good. All right, now the last thing we need to do is go ahead and put this piece back on. We took this off so we had access to the battery, and we've already put on the negative battery cable. We will be using this pin right here, and here's how it works. When you put this in, you want to push this pin out like this. That way these will collapse, and we'll be putting them in these two holes right here. And you can see you'll push it in, and then once you get this piece in, then you just push down on the top, and that will secure it. So first thing we need to do is we'll just go ahead and we need to slip this piece on right in through here, and then we'll just go ahead and line up the holes, and that looks pretty good right there. And then we'll go ahead and put the pins in. Again, you push this down, kind of hold it like this, and then we'll go ahead and slide that in this hole here. Once you get it in like that, then you just push down on it, and that secures it. And then we'll go ahead and put in this other pin. Again, same thing. Just push this down, hold it like this, and then just slide it into the hole, and then push down on it, and that secures it. And there you have it. And there you have it. Thanks for watching Big Al Repairs, and hopefully you subscribe.